Welcome, everyone, to Let's Talk Romance Books. I am Lorelai, your host, and today I have a very special guest and a dear friend. I've been a fan, and just delighted to know Sally. We have Sally Kilpatrick joining us. Welcome, Sally.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Sally Kilpatrick is a USA Today and Amazon best-selling author of 7 novels and counting. You're going to tell us how many.
Mhm.
She has won multiple awards, including the 2018 and 2019 Georgia Author of the Year. Her newest adventure is moving to California,
It's
where
true.
she lives now with her husband. So, Sally, before we begin, share with us something that made you smile today.
Something that I've got it. So my mom called me this morning and she was telling me that she was talking to the cat. She said, I missed you because here I am talking to the cat and telling him, okay, you can play with the dirt daubers. The dirt daubers have the little tail that's kind of detached. They won't bite you. But the wasp will sting you. So you cannot play with the wasp. She's like, I'm talking to the cat. I I would have loved to have been talking to you. And that not only made me smile, but it also made me laugh.
Yeah. Oh, that's delightful. So as a writer, of course, you need time to write, but how about time to read? And if
Always.
you have time to read, what are you currently reading?
Okay, I just finished a book called Forget the Alamo, which is a nonfiction book about like the true history of the Alamo. I am in the middle of The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes because I tend to be behind a lot of times. I say as I'm about to tell you that I just started A Thousand Painted Hours by Barbara O'Neill. That's an arc.
Oh,
I'm actually ahead of the game on that one. But I'm like 2 pages in, so I'm probably gonna start over. But
I've
so
heard
far,
wonderful things.
just what you'd expect, rich prose, engaging story, all good.
Amazing. Okay, so you mentioned cats. That's your mom's, but do you have any pets?
I do. I have 2 cats. I have a muted tortoiseshell named Rocket who may or may not join us. I can't make any promises, but often when I am doing a Zoom call, Rocket has to come say hello. And then I have a black cat with a bobtail named Blixie. And Blixie, oh, well, she was under there, but she must have moved on.
How did they get their names? Or
How
who
did,
gave them their
they are rescue cats. And I had grown up with cats and dogs and cows and chickens and parakeets and whatnot, but we'd never really had indoor cats. And Jennifer McQuiston of What Happens in Scotland fame, she and
Yes.
I had critiqued together. We were friends. The barn where her horse was boarded, that cat had kittens.
Mm.
And the kids who were playing with Rocket said that if you threw her in the air, she would fart fire. And that's how Rocket got her name. And then Blix, the lady who fostered them before they came to me, named her Blix because there's a poem about Blix, Blix, dark as night. And I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad because it does play into her being a black cat, but it's not like a smoky or ebony or any of
Yeah.
those. It's a little different, which we
Yeah.
like. And of course, Rocket's very different.
Yeah.
And if you've ever met Rocket, yeah, she's very different. Um, but yeah, we thought about changing their names, but then when we met them, we were like, it fits. We'll roll with it.
We'll keep them. Okay. It's how they come up with names.
I
Oh
don't-
boy. So, are you tea or coffee?
Yes.
To both.
I like to have coffee in the morning. I say as if it's not like a requirement.
Yeah.
I have coffee in the morning, and then I generally have tea in the afternoon.
Okay. What kind of do you like? What's your favorite?
Um, hmm. I probably my absolute favorite is English breakfast, which a little plain. I do love a good chai, which I understand in India the word for tea is chai, but by
Yeah.
that I mean the American version with all the ginger and cardamom and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge believer in herbal teas these days. Ever when I got COVID many, many, many moons ago, I had all sorts of they were the ones that have like elderberry in them and echinacea and things like that, and they really helped. And so now if I start to get a cold, like you can kind of hear, I thought I was coming down with one yesterday, but I just drank my herbal teas, and even though I don't sound quite like myself, I do feel like myself. So we'll take that win.
Okay. Definitely. So complete this sentence for me.
Uh-oh.
When I wake up every morning, I.
Tumble out of bed and stumble in the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition. Okay, I don't need to do that to your
It's
readers.
cute.
Um, but that in reality, I generally grunt. It's all monosyllabic until we get the coffee going. But I do have a cup of ambition because we went to Dollywood after we finished Little Miss Petty, the book you
Uh-huh.
were talking about, which I might get to later how that happened. But yeah, went to Dollywood, and I'll be darned if they didn't have it's a Dollywood mug that says cup of ambition. I was like, I'll be taking that.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Oh, so you speak in lyrics. That's a
Oh,
term
yeah.
I heard somewhere because I do that too.
Oh,
You know,
I got
when you're
that
going to
that
answer something
ADHD
and then you think of the song?
that ADHD thing where everything is connected to a song. Oh
Yes.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. See, I thought it was only me.
Oh no, 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 no.
So, name one thing on your bucket list or your wish list.
One thing on my bucket list. Mm. I think the next bucket list thing that I'm going to tackle is writing a screenplay. I
Oh,
mean, I'm in Los Angeles County, and I'm pretty sure that if you move to California, there's like some kind of codicil in there that says that you either have to attempt to act or you have to write a screenplay. You know, kind of like if you're an English professor, you got to have a novel that's in the desk
yeah.
drawer.
Yeah.
So the screenplay is going to be the first one that I'm going to actively tackle. I have another bucket list item that I haven't made happen yet, but I just keep hoping. And for some crazy reason, ever since I was a kid and saw this in National Geographic, I've always wanted to go to Tahiti and stay in one of those bungalows over the ocean. So that's two bucket list items.
Wonderful. We got the bonus one. Okay. Weirdest or unique thing you own?
I have a unique thing for you guys.
Yes.
I think I'm just going to hold up one because it's hard to see them.
Yeah.
But there were five of these once upon a time.
Oh my
So we
gosh.
get this little penguin with a red, this one with a blue, and then this one also with a blue. I'm afraid green and yellow had an untimely demise.
Oh,
And I don't know how unique these are, but what happened, somebody gave them to my mom, and I was being a bit of a smart aleck. I was probably a teenager. And so I lined up the penguins to make it look like they were going to the nativity scene to see baby Jesus.
okay.
And I didn't announce it or anything. I just put them there. And then mom came by and started cracking up because I'd also gotten out a compass to make sure that I had them coming from Antarctica,
Uh-huh. Oh
riders.
my
Brr. So when I moved out, she gave me the penguins
God.
and I trailed them to my nativity scene. But Rocket has knocked two of them down
Oh.
and broken them beyond
Oh.
super
Beyond
glue's
repair.
capabilities. What?
Beyond repair.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they know it wouldn't happen. And then I felt like these were like Agatha Christie penguins, like we were doing an
Yeah.
and then they were none situation. But yes, and then somewhere I did post, I like to put them so that they're talking. You'll see a picture, well, actually the picture that I sent you or
Yeah.
that I'm going to say to you. And
Yeah.
I say they're talking like they're in a Wes Anderson film. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
the way I like to position them when it's not Christmas. So they're like talking like they're like looking at each other instead
Yeah.
of looking out.
You could do so much of that on Instagram or on social media.
Amazing how I find ways to procrastinate. Really.
Okay,
The
yes. Put those
penguins.
little bubbles,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
those
Oh, I
bubbles.
should do that.
Yeah, yeah. I'll help. I'll help.
Oh, please. Yeah. Yeah, help me come up with stuff and then I'll make them.
Okay. So, do you have any hobbies or particular skills aside from reading and writing?
Okay. Those are my two biggies. One of my hobbies is running, although
Mm,
at this point in my life it's run walking. We
run walk.
run, we walk, we run, we walk, we run, we walk. But I do like that. It is it's a lot of fun. Travel is another big hobby. I
Mm,
am a house tour hoe. If there is a house that is open and I can pay money and I can go see it, I will do it,
okay.
including but not limited to the time that we went to one and the tour guide was on break and it was a state-run house and the park ranger, bless her heart, she wasn't prepared to be a tour guide. And I swear to you, a thing that was actually said to us was, well, that there is a plate. They done et with that. I
They,
kid you not. That happened on a house tour. That's why I will never stop taking house tours. You never know. You never know what's going to happen.
wow. Okay. So, let's get to talking romance.
Okay.
And first, share with us if did you always want to become an author?
I I don't know if I knew that I could be an author for a long time. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. Um, but definitely the love of books was always there. And that's why I kind of always am a little skeptical of somebody who says, I want to be a writer, but I don't like to read. What are you
Yeah.
doing? You
Yeah.
got to read to write. Pat Conroy once said, he was at the Decatur Book Festival when I was like helping out with docent or moderating and stuff. And he was saying, you got to read 100 books to write one.
Wow.
And from that day forward, I read 100 to 110 books a year, give or take. And then I started writing for funsies in junior high. My best friend and I, we had Note World, which was basically a soap opera, and
Okay.
we would pass the notes back and forth. So, I mean, I think it's something that I always wanted to do, but I don't know that I necessarily knew how to do it
Hmm.
for a long time. But I was doing it. I was writing novels in high school, 300 pages longhand
Wow.
for fun.
For fun. When did you officially become a published author? What led you to that? To
Officially? Okay. Well, I would say I first got serious about it when I was an undergrad. I did take creative writing classes. I had gone to the governor's school for humanities between my junior and senior year and had taken a creative writing class. And I was like, wait a minute, I really like this. And if maybe I could at least be a professor, you know. So I continued that in college, lots of short stories. And then when I graduated, I was working at Borders in the cafe. And the Smoky Mountain Romance Writers chapter of RWA was meeting in the cafe at the Borders. And I was like, hang on, what are these folks doing? Because they were reading to each other, they were critiquing and stuff like that. And I came by, and of course, in the way that many romance writers are, they were like, oh, you should join us. Come on down. And so the next thing you know, I'm in their meetings, and they were like, oh, you haven't written a book yet? Here, take this book by Catherine Falk, How to Write a Romance Novel. So, of course, me being a good student, I read it cover to cover. And I like to say, I thought at the time, I was like, I don't know a lot. I'm like 22 years old. What do I know about life? But
yeah.
I'll try a romance novel. How hard can it be? So hard.
Uh,
So hard. I will go to my grave maintaining that it is far more difficult to write a satisfying romance than to write pretty much any other genre.
okay. So you
Oh, you said when did I see squirrel?
No,
Uh,
no.
First published in 2015.
Okay.
So I started trying to be published at the age of 22. Obviously working full time. Ended up doing an 8-year stint of teaching Spanish. Had 2 kids in that amount of time. And about the time, I'd say about 2010, that's when my husband got a new job. And so we decided to stay at home because we had 2 kids, and childcare for 2 kids would eat up my entire teacher salary. So the gig was I'd stayed home and I would write. And so I wrote the Happy Hour Choir around the corner from where Lorelai went to preschool. My Lorelai, not you, my Lorelai. And I think I finished it in 2011 and got an agent in 2013, and then finally it was published in 2015. And so that's where we've been ever since.
Wonderful. So, do you write? So, why romance? Or
I,
do you write other subgenres? Go ahead.
all right. I write romance because I think it was one of the first things that I read. And I think one of the things that people don't recognize about romance is that is the ultimate genre of hope.
Yeah.
So basically, if you think of something like, say, Much Ado About Nothing, the play by Shakespeare, that's romance. It's
Yeah.
about overcoming obstacles and love triumphing in the end
Yes.
with a
Yeah.
fair amount of comedy. And my mother always, do not take my mother to a movie that has an unhappy ending. She is not about that life. She
Yeah.
doesn't want to read books that have unhappy endings. She will because she was an English major too. And in fact, that may be why she and I both kind of skew more romance these days. We're like, oh my gosh, pass me one more tragedy and it's going to be too much. But she always likes to say that if I want to read something sad, I'll pick up the newspaper or
Yeah.
I'll watch the news.
Yeah.
And I've always had that. I've gravitated towards romance. Even in the subgenre that I have written a new one. I have written my first mystery,
Okay.
but it has the building blocks for like a longer term slow burn romance in it as well. Well,
Okay.
the first one, actually, it's got two sleuths, and one of them is going to have her own like romance in this book, and then the other one has the slow burn. So I'm revising it. We're going to shop it, and here's hoping that it will be available in a couple of years.
Okay. So, what are three important facts that readers can expect to find in any Sally
Any
Kilpatrick
Sally,
book? It could
okay,
be Little Miss Petty or any of your books. What can they
any Sally Kilpatrick book. All right. First of all, humor.
humor?
I could not be a serious person if I tried. Absolutely could not. There will be humor. My characters will take, in fact, one of my first had an editor read the Happy Hour Choir for a contest and say, your tone is too light for such serious subject matter. I was like, nope, that's called being Southern or something. So that's it. That's you will find humor. The other thing you will find is that the main male characters, they are not going to be alpha.
Okay.
They are going to be beta.
Okay.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a, I love this woman and I will let her cook, including Malone. So you're not going to have some guy who's barking orders. It's not going to happen. I would say the other thing is my heat level goes from either closed door to maybe one sex scene, typically as tastefully done as I can manage.
Yes.
So like, yeah. And in fact, that's what one of my new editors said for Little Miss Petty, because it does have a sex scene. She's like, I really like the way you wrote the sex scene. Basically saying it's there because it's important, but it's not, hopefully not voyeuristic, and hopefully it has a purpose, like there's a reason why it's there. And definitely I just simply cannot get too into purple prose or its opposite.
Mhm.
So it's not going to be that graphic.
Okay. So tell us what inspired you to write Little Miss Patty.
Two things. The first is something I have said to my husband so many times over the years. And I said to him, like somebody in the news is acting up. Somebody is getting away with something they ought not get away with. They're being, or somebody in the neighborhood's being mean to somebody else. And I will look at him, I'll go, karma does not work fast enough for me. It does not. I needed to hurry up. I need to see some consequences for these ill actions. And I think the first seed of the book, because it's kind of funny, like things that'll go into one book or another, happen in Nobody's Perfect, because when Vivian is trying to get her soon-to-be ex-husband to move out, she comes up with all these creative ways to annoy him. And they aren't mean per se, but they're just to annoy him, right? And
Yeah.
one of them was I had gone on a forum to say, like, what are some things you would do if you had a bad roommate? And it was leave rotten potatoes in the room. So there's a part in Nobody's Perfect where she leaves rotten potatoes in his bedroom in the hopes of like smoking him out.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun with that that I stopped and I wrote over in I keep like my little plot ideas, and I wrote, what if there was someone who would get revenge on other people on their behalf? And what if it was like her business? And so that's kind of where Little Miss Petty was born,
Okay.
of my frustrations with the world and Vivian's rotten potatoes.
So is this a standalone or is it book two
It is a standalone.
standalone?
Mhm.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the characters.
Okay, our main character is Stella Stark. She's a private investigator. She is 39 years old, which is kind of important. She's going to turn 40 before all is said and done. And she comes home one night and her longtime partner, she's gonna surprise him. She's gonna slip into bed and she finds another person on her side of the bed. And the bad part about it is he's not just her romantic partner, he's her partner in business. So suddenly here she is, and he's obviously been cheating on her, so she's lost her house, her partner, and her job. She has to start over. And in the process of doing so, she stumbles into a bar and meets Havisham. Havisham is my spicy older lady with the spiky hair. Um, and she was really jilted at the altar. So she's ready to join Stella on this revenge quest. And then they pick up a third woman, Salcedo, who is at the bar, and this guy is trying to pull a fast one on her, and Stella basically rescues her. So then you have this trio of women who kind of get together, and amongst the three of them, they come up with the idea for Little Miss Petty. So Stella can use her own like sense of justice and her PI skills to make the money she needs to get back on her feet. And the problem comes, the complication, if you will, is when one of the ladies asks Stella to get revenge on her husband, soon to be ex-husband, and nothing Stella's doing is working because he's just too darn nice. And all I will tell you is there is no infidelity because Sally does not play with infidelity. So just hang with it. Just hang with it.
Yes, it is so good.
Mhm. Oh, thanks.
Tropes. What tropes can we find?
Tropes. Kind of sort of enemies to lovers, although he's not really an enemy. So she thinks he is, though. So we kind of got that going on. We've got strong female friendships. There's a cat involved. I forgot to think about my tropes. They just left. Like, you know how the train sometimes leaves the station? It just
Don't
left.
worry. If they
But
come
yeah,
back, yeah,
it's mistaken identity. That's the main one. Mistaken identity is the
yes.
biggie.
What do you hope readers will experience or gain when they read either Little Miss Petty or any of your stories? What is your hope?
I think one of the first realizations I had, because if you attempt to write romance and you're in like a college program, there's a lot of disdain. And what I realized one day, I think I was actually undergrad in a women's studies class and somebody was carrying on about it. And what I realized is that what romance can do for women is to remind them that they deserve to be loved. They deserve a hero who sees them as an actual person, who cares about their needs. And that's what I try to bring with each book. I tried to bring a heroine who may not be perfect. In fact, she's not going to be, but she's finding her way. That's kind of the women's fiction side of it, I suppose, is finding a better understanding of who you are. And each of my heroines always finds someone who loves them for them, warts and all.
Yes.
And there's Rocket, if y'all can hear. Hold
Yeah,
on.
we can't hear.
Come here.
Oh,
You just gotta say hello,
oh
don't
my
you?
gosh, hello. I have Minuet over there. If not, she wouldn't be quite. Oh my gosh, look at
You
that.
just gotta come say hello. Say hello to everybody.
Uh,
No, don't look at me. Look at the.
yeah. No, it's okay.
Okay, all right.
So you told us a little bit already about what you're currently working on.
Yes, I did.
So that's the mystery that is
That's
coming.
the mystery. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one thing before I ask you that, and because you mentioned about Lorelai,
Mm-hmm.
I read and I had
My Lorelai.
your Lorelai. So because here in the dedication, it's to
Uh-huh.
Lorelai. So
Yes.
just to clarify, who is this Lorelai?
All right. The Lorelai in the dedication. Why are you like this, Rocket? No, no, I don't need a parrot. You know what? If you can't behave, you're gonna have to go. Gosh, this cat. My Lorelai actually assisted me greatly in writing this book because once the editor said that they wanted it, so I've got this concept and I'm trying to come up with these ways for Stella to get her righteous revenge. And what you have to understand is by petty, in this case, I'm talking more of a poetic justice petty. I'm talking about logical consequences. So, no property damage, no harm to people, definitely no harm to animals. We aren't playing that game. And
Yes.
so we were driving down to Florida. I think we were taking Lorelai back to college and just brainstorming ways that you could get revenge on somebody that would definitely get their attention, that would be logical, but that wouldn't like be totally damaging.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe other than the glitter bomb, because you know you're never getting all that glitter out of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so Lorelai was right there with me in the back seat going, what about just slices of cheese everywhere? And I'm like, hold on, hold on, hold on. I don't think I can use that one. What's our why are we using slices of cheese? But then we had some other. I think Lorelai's was glitter bomb was one of theirs, and I don't remember if they came up with ladybugs, but there were yeah,
Anyway,
basically cricket noise makers. There were all kinds of things that we found.
so if you read it's the Lorelai, it's not me. It's
Yes,
Sally's Lorelai.
yes, it's my daughter.
And I loved your acknowledgments. It was so funny. So if you are watching this, please go ahead and when you get the book, read the acknowledgments if you don't, if you're not used to doing that. But tell us how can readers find you?
I am at sallykilpatrick.com. Obviously, that's ground zero, and you can sign up for my newsletter there. If you do, you can get a free copy of one of my novellas, like an e-copy. Um, I am these days typically on Instagram, and my username is at Super Writer Mom. And you may be asking yourself, do you really think that highly of yourself? No, no. See, what had happened was I came up with Super Writer Mom for a college project, marketing project, and was meant it rather tongue in cheek. but I had some success on Twitter, so then I was stuck with it. So everything's Super Writer Mom, including Facebook and Threads and TikTok. And I'm going to see if I can do some carrier pigeons later, and they will only answer to Super Writer Mom also. So
Anyway, so thank you so much, Sally, for sharing with our viewers all these little insights and
thank you
fun
for having me.
experience. Well, and to everyone, we will see you. I hope to see you next week with another amazing author. And thanks for joining. Bye.